Go to economics, chapter 30, government expenditure and net trade. We talk about government expenditure, it simply means government spending. Government is spending on certain goods or services. It could be done because government wants to intervene within the economy. So I'm going to read it anyway. Government expenditure simply implies to government spending. This is a form of government intervention. So there's government intervention because maybe there's a market failure. And whenever there's market failure, government will try as much as it can to intervene to correct that market failure. So one way in which government can correct market failure or intervene in market failure is through government spending, which could be fiscal policy. That means government spending on tax or on subsidy or reducing taxes to ensure that that market failure reduces or corrected. Do you get my point here?
Yes.
So what are the reasons for government spending? I wrote. The size of government spending varies from country to country and the kind of economic system run in each country. So government spending varies, which means one country will have its own priority than another. So government, because we are not in the same. Libya is different from Nigeria, Nigeria is different from Ghana, Ghana is different from Turkey, Spain and the rest. So each government will spend on what it thinks it's important
best
for it. Do you understand? So that's one aspect. And the other aspect is about the kind of economic system run in a country. We have the mixed economy, which combines both the private sector and the public sector. We have the planned economy, which is only government. And we have the free market, which is simply private sector. But there's no country that is a free market because there's always going to be government intervention. You get my point here? But the extent to which each country has government involvement varies. Like America, they have more of free market than government intervention, but it's still a mixed economy.
Yes. So what you mean by that is that countries like America spend less. The
Government spend
spend
less. Yes,
Okay.
I think it's clear.
Yes.
So we move on. Now, okay, government will spend on education, healthcare, defense, the police, and the court system. In the free market, the private sector is expected to provide goods such as housing, healthcare. Some mixed economies, government will have much state intervention. For example, Sweden, the government spend more compared to the UK, which government spend less, or America, which the private sector spend more. I think the point is clear there, right? Great. So that takes us to so government decision here. Government decision about spending taxes and borrowing are made in the budget. So there's a budget, which is the financial plan on government expenditure, or government expected expenditure and government expected receipts for the year. That is a budget, or we call it budget or fiscal. So that's what. So if government have to spend, it has to come through the fiscal policy, and fiscal policy is the use of taxes or government or spending to correct or to manipulate the economy. Clear?
Yes.
So we go to changes in government spending. Changes in government spending. This is partly on government priorities, which is political, because government spending will be decided by the government of the day. So we have a new government in Libya, and the government will decide what it wants to spend on. That is political priority. So government will also have different views on the role of government spending to correct market failure. The last government might have its own view on how to correct market failure, which might be different from the new dispensation, the new government. So each government will have its own views on how to correct market failure. And if it has to correct market failure, it means, the government of now might think about market failure in education, while the government of before, the previous government might think about market failure in health sector. So that means spending will differ. So spending will go on health for the previous government, and now, which the government is thinking about education, which there's a market failure, the government will be spending on education. So that is the point about correcting market failure. I think that point is clear.
Mm-hmm.
Government spending can also be influenced by the level of economic activity. That, in essence, spending can be done to increase aggregate demand during recession, or reduce spending to reduce demand because of inflation. So economic activity simply means events happening within the economy. So if the government of the country feels that the country is in recession, that means if there is a recession, it means unemployment is increasing, aggregate demand will fall. So to increase aggregate demand, government might have to spend to make goods and services become affordable. So if they are affordable, then prices would become affordable for consumers and they can buy. Then aggregate demand would increase within the economy, and the economy will come back to expansion or booming. You get the point here?
Yes.
And if the government of the country feels that inflation continues to rise over time, which might be as a result of demand pull inflation, then government might reduce its spending to make prices become,
More affordable.
no, prices to be less affordable, to be price become high, because if government reduces its spending,
Oh,
prices becomes, it increases prices,
yes.
then the demand for goods and services would reduce, bringing about a fall in demand, pull inflation. Do you get the point here? Recession would increase government spending. Inflation will reduce government spending. Clear?
Mhm.
Any question about that?
No.
So now the impact now. Okay, the impact of changes in government spending on total spending in the economy depends on the level of taxation. So government can also spend, but it depends on the extent to which government make taxes. So here it simply means if government is spending on taxes, if government increases its spending and at the same time increase taxes with the same level, it will not bring any impact because government has increased its spending and at the same time increased taxes. But if government increases spending and leave tax as the way it is, then it will make a huge impact in the economy. Do you understand?
Yes.
So that's the impact of it. So that means we're going to talk about government spending, which is fiscal policy, which is about the budget. So we have a note here. There's budget deficit or fiscal deficit, which simply means government spending is greater than government receipts on taxation. That is deficit. So there's deficit if government spending increases more than government revenue in terms of taxes. And there's a budget surplus or fiscal surplus if government spending is less than government revenue in terms of taxes. Any question about that?
No.
So we go to, that takes us to exports and imports. Are you there?
Yes.
So for exports and imports, when we talk about export simply means buying from foreign, selling to foreign countries or customers. That is export. And import simply means you're buying from foreign countries. You purchase from foreign countries or foreign businesses. That is import. I think you understand the difference between export and import. So the difference between export and import is our net export. So net export is exports minus imports. I think the point is clear. So that takes us to the factors that determine the level of export and import. So the first factor is price. And when we talk about price, we're talking about the amount you have to pay on exports or imports. So I would buyers make decisions based on price. That's the law of demand. The higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded. The lower the price, the higher the quantity demanded. So if the price of import, okay, so I said the price of imports or export is likely to be determined by the cost. So we don't talk about the price of export or import without coming back to talk about the cost of production. So cost is the amount we spend to ensure that the product is made available for sale. So if whatever we spend on during the cost of production, if the cost of production is increasing, it is expected that the price would increase. And if the cost of production is falling, it is expected that the price of the product also falls. So a fall in the price of export increases export, while a rise in price of export reduces export. Same goes to imports too. I think the point is clear. So if the cost of export is increasing, the price for export is expected to rise. If the cost of export is reducing, the price of export is expected to fall. I think the point about price is clear. The second one, the real income. And when we talk about real income, we're talking about money made within the economy. So here I wrote, if the real income within an economy is increasing, household spends more. So because we have more money to ourselves, that means we can spend more. So part of what we spend on is imports. Do you get the point here?
Yes.
So rising income increases importation. If income rises within an economy, the economy will spend more on imports too. And the fall in income would mean that the economy will spend less on imports. I think the point is clear there. So the extent to which we spend on import or export can also be determined by the level of income within the economy. That's the point there. Is it clear? The third one is the exchange rate. Now when we talk about exchange rate, we're simply talking about the price of a country currency in respect to other currencies. That is exchange rate. So I wrote here, exchange rate, the price at which one currency is sold for another. A rise in the exchange rate. A rise in the exchange rate of a given economy, for example, the Libyan dinars, means foreigners will spend more to buy dinars with their local currency. So if the Libyan dinar is increasing, if there's a rise in exchange rate in Libya, which means the Libyan dinar is having more value, has gained more value than other currencies. So it simply means foreigners that need the Libyan dinars have to pay more to get the Libyan dinars if they have to use their local currency. And what does that simply mean? It means the price of exports in Libya would increase. Do you get the point I'm making here?
Yes.
So this makes exports from Libya become expensive, and hence they reduce Libyan exports. If foreign customers have to pay more to buy from Libya, that would reduce the quantity sold in Libya. So Libyan exports, the demand for Libyan export would reduce. Do you get the point here?
Mm-hmm.
This also okay. So this also means that Libyan dinars will buy more of foreign currency. At the same time, the Libyan dinars will buy more of foreign currency. Do you get the point here? So that means imports become cheaper in Libya. Do you get the point? Good.
State of the world.
The third one.
State of the world economy.
Yeah, state of the world economy. So for state of the world economy, I wrote, if economic activity across the world is booming, for example, if the trading partners of Libya, for example, Italy, Spain, France, and China, which Libya exports crude oil, crude petroleum gas, refined petroleum, gold, and scrap iron to, are doing well, then it is likely that the demand for Libyan export increases. So if Italy, China, Spain, France are doing well in their economy, it means they will
buy more.
They will buy more from Libya. So that increases the Libyan export. It's a clear case.
Yes.
The fifth one, degree of protectionism. Most countries limit goods and services coming into their economies in various ways, and these ways are called trade restrictions. You can't just allow all countries to just bring into your country. So what happens to your own domestic producers? You get the point there?
Mhm.
So ways in which government can do this, it's through quotas or tariffs. And when we talk about quotas it simply means placing a physical limit on the quantity of importation. And for tariffs, it means you are putting taxes on importation. So this can also determine the level of exports within the economy. Is it clear?
Mhm.
And the next one,
Degree of protection.
no, we talked about it, protectionism, that's all. Then we have non-price factors. Are you there?
Yes.
So for non-price factor, I wrote, it can be said that the most important factor that determines the level of export and import is price. This can be true where goods are of standard quality. So yes, the most important determinant of import or export is the price. But here it would have meant that the quality is intact.
Mhm.
But if not, there are other factors that we could think about. Like some products, they have unique quality, they have unique services, maybe they are patents or they are trademark. So which means these factors can also determine the level of import and export. So here I wrote, however, there are some goods which are unique in quality. It might be through their design or method of delivery. These things are non-price factors and they may influence exports or imports. So it's not only price, there are other price factors that might determine how much more we want to get from one country or less from another country. Any question about that?
Mhm.
So that ends government expenditure and net trade, which is the same as net exports. Thank you. So we have